Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the OffBall Podcast. I'm your host, Akil Mitchell, with the founder of MTTG, More to the Game, Trayvon Barnes. Today we got a real special guest. ACC champion. Uh, you know, Professional basketball player. And how long you been out of college now? Like 5, 6 years.
6 years.
6 years. It's starting to get up there, boy. And also owner of his own wholesaling real estate business. My big brother, Akil Mitchell. Hey man, that's right there. That's right where we at right now. That's right where we at. That's so good. Nah, man. So, how you doing, man? I heard y'all over in Israel right now.
Yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, the first take it is kind of got shut down. Like you said, I'm in Israel, so hopefully we get through this one. The Wi-Fi will work with me. Cooperate. Yeah,
I think
Israel in crazy times.
Crazy times, man. What we really do on the Off-Ball Podcast, More to the Game, is we really like to discuss athletics, especially in college, and a lot of times trying to figure out how people can bridge that gap between college and into the real world. You know, everybody's not as lucky as you to have a fantastic professional career, but even though you've had a great professional career, you're still looking at trying to do other things outside of just playing sports because you realize there's more to life than just playing sports, you know? So that's what we really try to highlight here on Off Ball Podcast. But right now, I just want to take you back to your roots, man. University of Virginia. Just you could just break it down to us a little bit. I mean, we're in some really racially heavy times right now, and I know me and Trey went to HBCUs, a little different than a PWI. Being athletes at both, but you also had those kind of the crazy riots. I don't know if you were there at those times, but how was it for you at UVA, and like how was your time there?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I am incredibly blessed. So I've been really fortunate to have played at some at a pretty high level, and have been blessed to have been able to play professionally. And a lot of that I owe to what I learned and what I was able to accomplish at UVA. So I definitely can't take anything from Coach Bennett or his coaching staff there while I was there. Coach Sanchez, Coach Williford, Coach McKay, all those guys, they taught me so much and I learned so much from them. But like you said, at the same time, it's Virginia. You know what I'm saying? It's Charlottesville, Virginia. Like the former capital of the Confederacy is Richmond. And you guys were at Hampton, so I mean, y'all both know the state of Virginia and the history of the state of Virginia. But just to rewind, like even a little bit before that, like I was at Charlotte Christian. You know what I'm saying? Just I can say Charlotte Christian and people don't even know the school, but you can imagine like what it was like. You know what I'm saying? Just the name of the school itself. It was what? It was not, there were 6 Black students in my class. 4 of them I'm still like close friends with.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was that kind of a school. So I was already used to it. Like I was there when Obama was elected the first time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't able to vote, but we used to ride to school together, and like you pull up at school and your history teacher is telling you that Obama was born in the Middle East somewhere and that he was actually a terrorist. And you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, really though, really.
No, your history teacher, you know what I'm saying? Like, your teacher is telling you that kind of stuff. So, like, I've always had a chip on my shoulder. I've never really taken anything for face value. Like, I used to hang Malcolm X posters in my locker, and just to piss people off, honestly. Like, that's always been kind of me.
Listen to Young Jeezy.
Like, as loud as I am, our president is Black. With like, we supposed to have college t-shirts. I'm walking around with like Barack Obama t-shirts. Yes, we can T-shirts. Like, but that's me. That's me. I've always been rooted in that. I think I carried that with me to UVA. Like, I never really let it bother me. I knew I was going into a situation where it would be kind of me against the world. Like, even the team was whiter than most of the teams I had been on at that point. Our recruiting class, Joe Harris, James Johnson, Will Regan, Billy Barron, like of the 6 of us, 4 of them were white. You know what I'm saying? So even in that kind of a situation, like, I'm kind of outnumbered. But it never really bothered me. I knew what I was there for. I knew what I was going for. I knew what my goals were. And I knew the type of people to avoid. I knew the friendships that I needed to make. And I saw a lot of stuff, but it didn't really bother me. Like I said, I can't really complain. It's completely different. I wasn't there for the riots, but
I do have a question. So me going to Hampton, and I remember I took you on the campus one time. It was just luck of the draw that you decided to come back. I can't wait to tell this story.
I remember this.
It's right before our winter break, and I just remember we have a game that he's supposed to, be able to stay for. So the night before, he comes up to my dorm. Trey's playing 2K. We're hanging out. I get on Snapchat because, I've never been a big 2K guy, but I get on Snapchat and I'm like, yo, there's a party in the student center right now. There's a party. Like, it has to be like 8 o'clock on like a Tuesday night or something. We got the DJ in there. It's like crowded. I'm like, yo, y'all trying to go? And it was like, how on earth do y'all have a party on a Tuesday at 8 o'clock at night? Like, what are y'all doing here? I was like, it happens pretty often. So we just start walking over there. And as soon as we walk in, you got people up on the rails at the top. You got the DJ down low. You got a whole bunch of little booths set up with people trying to sell their merchandise and things. And I was like, yeah, this is the best way I can quickly describe Hampton. It's just like a great feel. Like, of course, we're one of the best academically. We're going to do what we have to do in the classroom. But I don't know, I always had that just genuine feel from like just the environment that I felt like safe and protected. And I could go have fun with my own kind of people, my own people. At UVA, I don't remember how many black people you guys had, but
you want me to call him? We can add him to the Zoom call if you want. I remember that because I remember going like, yo, y'all do this all the time? Tuesday, y'all got class in the morning. Like, this is normal. But those kind of functions, like, never happened. We would have them once a semester. We call them SAB parties. And then there were no frats. Like, we didn't have frat houses. Like, all the white fraternities and sororities had frat houses. So that was, like, the main thing to do in terms of parties because everybody else was underage. It was the frat houses or bars. When you couldn't get in the bars, then you went to the frat houses. But we had no black space. There was no black space for us to really go to. So it was like kind of extracurricular, like gatherings. You know what I'm saying? We would have a party maybe once a semester where all the black people would show up. And that was it. You know what I'm saying? So to see y'all do that on Tuesday was like love. I was like, yo, if I could have done this, you know how much happy I would have been? I got stories from me. Like I'm 6'9" walking around. Really play basketball. And like we pull up to a frat party and they won't let us in, but they're letting streams of other white dudes in. You know what I'm saying? Like I have so many stories like that where you just feel uncomfortable listening to rave music in a basement that smells like beer and throw up. It's just a different energy, bro. It's a completely different energy. And when, like you said, when you need that safe space, it's just not the same.
We did have a chance, me and Keem had a chance to enjoy UVA our senior year. We came up, was it Black Alumni Weekend? Is that what it was?
Yeah, y'all picked the perfect weekend to come back.
Yeah, I was about to say, the only experience with UVA was a lot of black people. So That's crazy to say that.
Nah, it was just cool because I remember everybody was just packed into the bar watching the UVA game, and yeah, like it was just another like just nice black space. And I can say one thing, like going to Hampton beforehand, because we've always been just at private schools and things like that, like all throughout middle school, high school. So being in that space with this private, in the South, majority white people into Hampton, I don't know. I was able to find a different love for my own people and myself that I don't think I had before going. And that's one reason I think I'm really grateful that I went to Hampton because it got to change my own outlook on how I viewed myself and my own people.
I feel like I still got that at UVA, but it was a counterculture almost. Like we had to stick together.
Yeah.
We knew that was it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
the 100 people in this party versus the 15,000 or whatever that it is on campus. Like that's who we are: the football players, the basketball players, and then all them those beautiful, smart black women that you talking about. Like we knew that was it. That was it. So like a lot of them I'm still super close with because we had to build such tight friendships and bonds. And it all came from being honestly outnumbered and in a space that we knew we wouldn't be able to be together otherwise.
I feel like that's one thing that we can all say is very nice to see right now is that like at the end of the day, when and I'm speaking specifically for black people, but when we feel like we're being, our backs against the wall, like we really need to fight back for each other. I feel like at the end of the day, we're gonna have each other's backs no matter what, and I think that's just a beautiful thing to see on both spectrums.
It's strange. It's a strange time, man. Maybe we'll talk about that.
We can talk about that later. But real quick, I do want to just discuss two things. So I know me and you have had this conversation, and more so about the academic side and also the athletic side. But a lot of people are trying to say, now Mikey Williams is a freshman, top recruited players in the country right now. He's a talent. And he's saying that he would like to go back to an HBCU in order to give back to his community, his people. And you going and being a great student at Virginia, great athlete at Virginia, me being a great student at Hampton, great athlete at Hampton, and we can sit down and really discuss some of the issues and the things that, financially, you guys have way better facilities than we would ever even see at Hampton, and that's just keeping it real on the academic and the athletic side. I can say for us personally, I feel like we were closer with all of our teachers, and I have bonds with some of my teachers still to this day, where that makes a big difference as well. So I don't know. I just kind of want to get your take on how you felt about younger players really saying I would like to go back to HBCUs and give back to my people. Like how you feel about that?
Yeah, I've stayed obviously with you at Hampton. Like I've been on top of this topic for a while because I've thought to myself like, man, I really wonder what it would have been like had I gone to an HBCU. And I think it's a mindset thing, right? And it's a mindset thing not only for the kids but for the parents also. Like I wasn't going one and done, so whatever I did, I knew I was staying all 4 years, which is why the academics is so important to me. But it's a mindset of building versus taking. You know what I'm saying? Like any student athlete that decides to turn down a Virginia to go to an HBCU, to go to a Hampton, understands that the facilities are not going to be as good, understands that the reputation academically in like the corporate world might not be as good, but they also understand that they'll be able to build not only for that school, they'll be able to build revenue through their talents that were given away to these PWIs for free. They'll be able to build networks with people who look like them and who will be successful at some point, whether it's corporate or on their own. You know what I'm saying? Like those avenues still exist. It's just with people that look like us. Now, if you want to go one and done, and you know that you're going to be a top 5 pick, whether you go to Hampton or Virginia, the argument is simple for me. Like, why not put that money back into our own community? But there's so much more that you can do, even after like I mean, the whole college basketball system is flawed. Like, these kids should be getting paid.
NCAA.
Yeah, it's the NCAA. It doesn't really matter. But what do you do when you're done, right?
Exactly.
Where the NBA players who did go on and done really have no real allegiance to their schools or whatever. Where is all of their money when it comes to talking about doing things for black people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if we know that a majority of our black professionals come from HBCUs, and we know that a lot of that money that they need for their endowment can come from sports, then we've got to pour money back into sports programs. We have to pour money into the facilities at Hampton so that they look like the facilities at the UVA, so that they can attract top talent, right? I think that it's all an ecosystem. It's all an ecosystem. For me, UVA's endowment is in the billions. Hampton's is not. You know what I mean? Hampton needs the money more than UVA ever will, and that's just real. Like, when I graduate from UVA, I'll probably give money to Hampton one day.
I can see it.
Yeah, and that's just the way I see it. Like, it's not taking anything away from UVA again, but when it comes to empowering our own people, like I said, the mindset of building has to be there. Even if you don't have a great professional basketball career, you know, you are still basketball players. You still understand what it takes to build a program, to raise money for a program. So, you know, down the line, I think it has to be kind of a mission for all of us.
Very well put. Very, very well put. There's one piece that you said, and I think is really important for a lot of people to understand as well. Being 17, 18, it's a high possibility you might not have a great professional career. That's just the way this world is. Like, injuries, politics, you might just not be as good as you think you are. Like, it's just so many things. Somebody might just be better at that right time. The team might need a certain thing at that right time. There's so many little things that come into play. But I specifically wanted to, for you and Trey to just have a little conversation back and forth, because you both had serious injuries, different times of your careers, but yours was your hand. You had to have surgery on your hand, and Trey's was his knee. He just had surgery on his knee. So, when that happened, but knock on wood, Lord, please bless me, I've never had a serious injury, and I really hope that I can go throughout my career and not have one. But with you two having serious injuries and having to be sidelined for such a long time, then is that when your mindset, you would say, changed, in the sense of, oh shoot, like, my basketball career can be taken away from me like that? What else am I going to do?
My mindset obviously changed, because if it didn't, I wouldn't be, doing this right here, having this platform and everything. But I kind of already had that in the back of my mind. Like, I was taught that growing up, you have to value education, you have to value things outside of sports, because it's not guaranteed. You might not make it and all this stuff, so you have to have a plan B. But the injury just put it, it put the fire behind me to actually start working on this stuff. Because it's just different to think about it versus actually having to face it. Because once the injury happened, like, I was faced with the possibility of never playing again. Like, you never know, like, what can happen at that point, because you don't know how your body will respond. You don't know how you mentally respond. You don't know how the teams will take you, from that point on. You don't know, even if they do take you, it'll be the best decision for your future. So it definitely forced me to actually start looking actively into, routes and setting up things for my post-basketball career, I'd say.
It is interesting. It is interesting the way that you kind of react to the injuries. Like, Trey's injury was way more serious than mine. Like, I knew I'd be able to play again. It was just a matter of at what level. I mean, you got to remember, like, going to UVA, I was playing on red shirt, and I definitely wasn't thinking about playing professionally. I was happy to go to college, honestly. Like, I was happy to play in the ACC, but the thought of going pro never really crossed my mind until after my junior year, going into that summer. And all of a sudden it was like, all right, like, either leave now or come back for your fourth year, for your senior year. And when I broke my hand, like you said, it kind of just put everything into perspective. Now suddenly, like I said, I'm thinking about going pro, but what if something more serious does happen? Now the pressure's on, not a little bit. I don't really feel pressure too much like that, but the pressure's on now because I have to come back from this injury and play at the same level as I did the year before in order to kind of keep my pro hopes alive. Like you said, that fire, I definitely felt that fire was lit a little bit. But it can take a toll on you mentally too. I remember like I was struggling a little while for that, just to think that all the work that I had put in can go away in a heartbeat. And I remember being depressed about that for a long time over that summer, just to think that like, man, if something did happen, what the hell would I do? And I had all these dreams, I had all these goals and these visions that I had thought about for a long time, but had never really been able to materialize because I had put so much effort into basketball. Just to understand that it can go away with one tweak of an ankle or a bad jump somewhere. And so I just started searching, man. I still haven't really figured it out. Like we've got the wholesaling business that we're running. We've got our hands in podcasts and all kind of other things. But for me, I'm still just searching. I'm still searching. I've done all kind of internships and just so that I can be prepared when it does come.
Speaking on like your mental health, I remember coming down there. I think just for a quick weekend. It was right after your surgery, but both you guys know after surgery, the pain is just excruciating.
So you need them perks.
Don't get me started on that stuff, bro. It's killer, bro. Mind killer. So I just remember coming down there and he was in an apartment. It had no furniture in it, just some like blow up mattresses and like a cat or something like that. I remember it was always dark in there too. But I remember you telling me a story about how you first came across VC, like venture capitalists and like Black venture capitalists. Can you like touch in on that? And I feel like me knowing you very well, I feel like that's where you want your future to be. You want to be able to invest back into startups and businesses like that. So would you say that's like where your, where that first like fuel of that fire came from, that first idea spark came from?
Yeah, I think so. Like you said, I was in that, I was thugging it. The AC didn't work. The dishwasher would flood the floor anytime I cooked. I had my hand in the cash, so I'm left-handed with everything.
Yeah.
And I think it was just like a part of the summer I'm usually home. Like we get like a little break, but I had broken my hand in a weird time. So I was there by myself. None of my other teammates, anybody else was there. And I'm trying to remember which Jay-Z album it was that just come out. Jay-Z always dropping little gems and stuff as to more. You know what I'm saying? Just we got to think about the way that we do things differently. I remember listening to that album like on repeat every day, just throbbing hand like, yo, I got to figure out like my goals and my aspirations for me and my people are way higher than just hooping and making some money in real estate or whatever else. Like I wanted to do something bigger, and I couldn't believe I had never heard of venture capital at that point. I think it's probably a lot more popular now because of people like Jay-Z who, are talking about it and podcasts like you guys are doing. Like this stuff wasn't, I sound like I'm dating myself, but 7 or 8 years ago, like it just wasn't talked about as much. It was just really not as much information about it. And so I remember sitting there like listening to it, and I'm thinking like, why have I never heard of this? I've never heard of venture capital. I've never heard of angel investing. Like, and this is something that I was trying to get into, like reading every day. I was taking classes in the comm school and the business school. like actively searching it out, and I still never heard of it. And so I called my friend who actually just graduated from Columbia Business School, Marche, and I was like, "Hey, have you heard of this thing called venture capital?" I was like, "Why don't we do this? Why are Black people not doing this?" And she was like, "Yeah, nah, it's a thing." Like, yeah, nah, people do that. Not a lot of Black people do it, so you're kind of right. She kind of set me straight. She was like, "Nah, this is how it works, and this is what this is, and this is." And I was like, "Yo, my mind was blown. My mind was blown from then on out." And since then, it's definitely where I want to go, but it's such a competitive space to get into, and it's one that takes a whole lot of money to kind of get into it, and that's why a lot of us don't do it. That's why a lot of us don't know about it. But there's so many there's a ton of industries like that. There's industries all over the place. Land development, real estate development is another one that is a high capital business. And so historically, we don't have the capital to even know about this stuff. Like there are conversations being had about buildings being built that affect our lives that we have no say over because we've been blocked from capital for so long. And so now the question isn't whether or not that's what I want to do. The question is, how do we find the capital? How do we build and raise the capital to kick in some of these doors and to empower other people to do the same? And that was kind of the vision that I had sitting in that apartment. And that's kind of where I've steered my life since then.
Mm-hmm. As a venture capitalist, do you feel like the person that wants a piece of the business, they need to be providing value or just that capital?
No, absolutely. And as a founder, you shouldn't take money from somebody who's only money. Yeah, I mean that's bad money. Not all money is good money. They have to be able to provide value. Yeah, in some form or another. In some form or another, it has to be able. They have to either be able to provide value, with their ability to market, their outreach, like their circle. If you're famous, you know what I'm saying. You have to be able to provide something to the company, or it's just not a good fit. Otherwise, like it's just not a good business relationship. I don't want anybody coming to me asking only for money. Like I want to be able to help, because if I'm giving you money, I got to believe in the vision. I got to believe in the company. And if I feel like this company is going to be successful, I'm going to do everything I can to help them be successful. It should never work like, yeah, I'm just going to give you this money, make me money. Nah, it's not like that. It's not like that.
Even in like brands, like if I was an Instagram celebrity or whatever, it's basically like, you got brands coming to you that you don't believe in. Are you still willing to take that money, even though it'll probably tarnish your brand later down the line? Like, you got to think longevity, not that short-term success. So it's really about thinking about what you actually believe in, what you actually care about, and, doing your own research about it. And speaking of the land development and, building, like what would you say your final goal would be, or one of your main goals? I don't want to say final goal because you finish one goal, we're going to keep on going to the next one. What would you say one of your biggest goals right now that you got written on your wall, you can look at every single day, is when it comes to not basketball, but when it comes to, I guess we can say age that you're in right now?
I try to keep my goals pretty simple. Like the monetary goals are fine, but when you miss them, you're pissed. And sometimes you miss them because there's nothing you can do about it. So I try to keep my goals pretty simple. And the goals for me is to empower the people around me to be successful in one way or the other. My goals are to do one thing every day to help build our company. And then do one thing every day to maintain my mental health. I feel like if I can do those three things, then the sky is the limit. You know what I mean? Like you're really only successful in this moment.
Thank you all. OffBall Podcast is really appreciated. More to the game. Make sure you like, subscribe, or follow us on Instagram. You know, all of that good stuff, all of that good stuff. Yeah, right there, right there, right there.
It's gonna be on the screen somewhere.
Somewhere, one of these spots. One of these spots, it might be, you know, it's next to Kobe. Oh, the other way. It's next to Kobe. Kobe. All right, man. We signing off, y'all. Peace.